That Range Life show sometimes about golf. That's Chris McEwen. I'm Bill Bush, DriveRangeHeroes.com, at Range Heroes. Oh, and I forgot, at Chris McEwen on social medias.
Right.
I don't know if you caught what I just did there. I opened the show with, yeah. Yeah.
Been a long day. I gotta tell you, I am mentally exhausted. I can't believe it's only Tuesday. I'm so tired. I've never worked harder in my life the last 2 days I've lived.
Yeah, I don't know.
My brain is just.
I don't know the last time hard work was a thing for you. So
God,
and
I just had to use my brain so much these last 2 days. It's been exhausting.
So we had plans to do an in-person show this week at a venue. I'll just leave it at that. And you will note we are doing a remote show. And I made the call. I believe I made the call. We're recording on Tuesday. I made the call on Monday. That's probably in the best interest of the show. We have always been good pandemic soldiers. Why stop now?
Since the days of the Lockdown Golf Podcast.
Which I would have loved to have known in Spotify Wrapped days how that did. Because I want to make two things clear. I don't give one shit about anybody Spotify Wrapped, whether what they're listening to or how their show performed. And two, I do want to know how Lockdown Golf Podcast would have done at that time.
I had a bit of, because I moved to Apple Music because it's far superior to Spotify in several ways. But I do like the rap stuff. I'm not going to lie. I had a little FOMO this year of not being able to participate.
That is something, and I don't even mean that it's going to come out critical. You know my personality well enough to know when I say.
Yeah, I know you hate everything that's cool or fun.
No,
I know. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, do people enjoy that? It sucks. It's the dumbest.
It's 100% not true. But I feel like it is. It is one of those things with you that is just right up your alley. Like right up your alley, where it's like it shouldn't be something you enjoy as much as you do. Like but you're like, no, I kind of love it.
Like my stuff is always a little skewed because I have like a study list. So when I play guitar in Arizona, I have a set list. And so I have a playlist, or used to anyways. I have a playlist that I'll just like, if I need to learn one song, right, like you just listen to it over and over and over and over, and it skews it a little bit, but it's still fun to see. It kind of gives you a little glimpse of what songs I struggled with for a full 12 months.
I'm not saying for your own personal review. Obviously, I think I would be interested in that about myself. It's like everybody and this joke. Clearly, we know who's controlling the Spotify in my house.
Oh yeah, yeah. We share. It's not me that listens to a lot of Taylor Swift. Okay, everybody, just own your shit, man. I listen to Taylor Swift. She's awesome.
I've said it once on our programs. I'll say it again. I think Style off the 1989 album is one of the best modern pop songs ever written.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So
I think, and I would say the same about Antihero, the new one.
I went up with him like, actually, I see what's happening here. Not bad. And I have come crashing down on it. Just cuz. All right. Anyway, we're remote.
Okay. We're remote. I have more thoughts about in-person shows too. I just had a bit of an epiphany while I was just lighting brain cells on fire yesterday.
Oh, interesting.
Actually.
I can't wait to hear those. But I will say, as of making the call yesterday, it's like, hey, out of abundance of caution, today was absolutely the right call. If I'm not getting the vid, something started. Like
something's brewing.
Like
and coffee.
Last night going to bed, I was like, oh God, and I thought I was having, I'll just say, my usual ailments post last summer. And then today when I'm waking up, I'm just like, oh my God, work from home era, man. I don't know about you. I can fight through pretty much anything. I just have to go down.
Oh God. Yeah, for sure.
No, I was like, I can't work today. So this is about the most energy I mustered today. So It is. It is a good thing.
There's also the thing. I don't know about you. Since I've never gotten it. Well, I'm sure I've had to have had it. Just didn't know or something. But I never actually like got sick. Anytime I do anything with a lot of people in a single place, the next day I'm like, I feel something. I got a scratch. I got a sniffle. I got a this. I got a that. But it never.
But I'm 3 days after, and I was fine day 1, day 2.
Yeah. So
now day 3,
you're in it.
So we'll
Here
see.
You go.
The symptoms are there. I know I was exposed. As I texted you, I'm super annoyed about the situation, but at the same time, it's like, let's be honest. I flew on a plane and went to Disney World. Like I'm always putting myself in the situation. We all put ourselves in situations like that, not to go on this whole thing, but that is me being actively putting myself in a situation. I'm accepting the risk and I'm actively deciding that what I want to do is worth it as a risk guy. Right. I assess it, I accept it, and I act and say, that's me. When it's like someone else or something else that, you don't expect, or you expect more or something. That's I don't know if it's fair of me to say that with what happened, but all I know
regardless, since when have we been fair about anything ever?
Correct. So anyway, I feel like dog shit today. I'm hoping a good night's sleep.
This ought to be a great show. I'm exhausted and you feel like dog shit.
I hope a good night's sleep. I can get back to work at least tomorrow and be like, I'll solve all the world's problems on about 10% energy.
Right. And one more thing before we start the show, the actual show. We need to keep Kevin's streak alive of being mentioned. So Kevin,
I'm not kidding when I said this on the Twitter. Kevin
I'm not either.
If you don't follow him, is vying for a staff position at That Range Life Productions. Yes. Kevin, I want to be super clear when we go down this path. What's in it for you? Not much. We don't really have a ton to offer, but we're fun guys. Yeah. Believe it or not, in real life. And look, you could get a sick That Range Life hat like Kris has, and we could probably pull some strings and get him a sub 70.
I would imagine
Zach Fisher hat here. Is that there?
I see that. Yeah. But for those that don't follow us on, or aren't on Twitter, I guess maybe you don't follow us on Twitter, but you are. But Kevin made like a supercut of all my wives over, it's incredible.
And the point,
he took our videos and made a supercut of all of Bill and I saying my wife over and over again, and it's unbelievable.
I would like him to go further back in the show's history just to see the change, but I understand it's asking a lot. But I will tell you this: my wife even enjoyed it, and she was like, "I kind of want to show up on the show sometime in the Borat concubine wife outfit and just lean into the bit." And I go, and then she's like, you can see it. She just paused. She goes, I don't want to do that. No, you don't say.
Yeah, you'll regret that decision within seconds of doing it. Okay, let's start the show now.
So the World Cup's going on, as you know.
I've heard, yeah.
And I meant to talk about this last week because I found it fascinating. But with all the teams out right now, I am currently signed up as a fan of England, and I'm going to support them due to having friends over there and some of the allegiances. So I'm going.
Brazil's going to win it, though, right? Everyone knows Brazil's winning that thing.
That's what I've heard.
They're incredible.
But I felt like they had a little bit of everybody, the surprise misses in the qualifying round, and teams not looking so sharp. And Brazil, may have been in that, but based on Brazil's last match against South Korea, I think that was put to rest, and the rest of the world's on notice.
Yeah, what was it, 4-0 at the half, or 4-0, whatever you want to call it, a half?
4-0 at the game match, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, I saw this on Twitter last week, and you can find it at Upshot Towers. Don't know anything about this account, who they are, what they are, but I saw this somehow. So I'm not endorsing the account if it's questionable, but this thread was fascinating. So the 1930 World Cup apparently was absolutely mental. The refs wore suits, the Bolivians played in berets, and the Romanian team was selected by the king, and that's the tame stuff. From premature funerals to managers knocked out with chloroform, here's a short history of the madness. The tournament was hosted by Uruguay, and the European sides sailed together across the Atlantic aboard a Scottish steamship. They trained on the top deck and stopped off in Rio to pick up the Brazilians. Jules Rimet himself traveled with them with the trophy in his suitcase. Egypt, the only African representatives, were supposed to join but set off late and missed the boat. The Pharaohs...
Literally.
The Pharaohs telegraphed in their apologies. So I'm assuming the rulers in Egypt in the 30s were still called pharaohs.
We're still pharaohs.
The pharaohs telegraphed in their apologies, leaving the tournament with an awkward 13 teams. When the football kicked off, Argentina quickly established themselves as the bad boys. Police had to intervene after a violent scrap in their game against Chile, but it was their 6-1 semifinal win over the USA where things really got ugly. A first-half horror tackle left one of their opponents with a broken leg, and the game descended into a mass brawl. An Argentine player knocked 4 teeth out of an American's mouth, and another ended up in a hospital with injuries to his stomach.
It's like a hockey game broke out during the soccer match.
And there's pictures to go with it that are fascinating. And possibly the most slapstick moment in the World Cup history, the American manager rushed on the field to confront the ref, tripped and smashed a bottle of chloroform in his pocket. The fumes knocked him unconscious, and he had to be stretchered off. The finals saw host Uruguay taking on their hated neighbors Argentina, and more than 15,000 Argentine fans headed to Montevideo on board a steamship. But the ship got lost in heavy fog, and they arrived a day late to the news their team had lost, kicking off riots. During the trip home, Romanian midfielder Alfred Eisenbeiser Ferraru fell ill and was taken off to hospital when the boat stopped in Genoa. Yeah. The team continued their journey, but when they arrived back in Bucharest without him, a rumor spread that he had died. Even his distraught mother was convinced, and she made funeral arrangements.
Was there Twitter back then, claiming that like TMZ from back in the day announcing someone like is dead when they're not dead?
Apparently not. Even his distraught mother was convinced, and she made funeral arrangements only for Ferraru to walk through the door on the day of the wake. She fainted on the spot. Still, it wasn't all bad. Ferrari recovered to compete for Romania in both figure skating and bobsleigh at the next Olympics.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, 1930 World Cup.
Bring back the good old days, huh?
Who needs Qatar controversy and banning their main sponsor's product at it when you have 1930s?
That's right. That's one of those things that you forget about, like when, the World Cup, the Open, these overseas from the U.S., obviously overseas competitions. Like, yeah, man, they took boats.
Well, even that's right.
It took them like a week to get to the Open.
That was a big deal, like with Arnold Palmer, right? At the time, Americans didn't really compete in the Open, and he was like, "Yeah," and him and Bobby Jones like, "I'll take the steamship on over."
They took a boat,
and I'm going to do it every year. And they're like, the reason that the players didn't do it is stupid expensive and hard
and
on
boats
them.
Sucked. Yeah, right.
And that wasn't, the 50s and 60s still. Like, it was not like even then they're going, we'll just hop on, on a 777. And
there wasn't a whole lot of transcontinental flying going on unless you had
an Airbus.
You had a military uniform on.
Right.
Like, they'll get you on a plane. They'll get you over there to go fight a war, but not to play golf. Sorry, Jack.
Oh, Barb, how are we going to get there? Anyway, that's World Cup talk. We're obviously we're a World Cup soccer football.
Really? World Cup talk. I don't have a thing. I don't have a thing for World Cup talk.
That's fine. Like a ball getting kicked graphic.
I'm sure it's out there. I could probably just steal something and just use it, but
don't do it.
I'm not going to.
Do it.
I do have some TV talk if we have the time. Since we're doing talks, we haven't done talks in a while like this.
Well, let's cover our golf topics because we have more talks. Right. Speaking of my Zach Fisher hat earlier, shout out Zach Fisher of Sub 70 fame.
And speaking of the Open, right?
Burying the Jesus.
Sorry, I didn't know this was just your show. You were doing a monologue. I can't participate.
You
spoilers?
But you spoiled it. You got to get to the lead.
It's a conversation.
So Zach Fisher won Q School. Is it 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
Won Q School 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, as I allude to the staff bag in the bag, but you can't see, and I noticed this in a What's in the Box video I recorded this week. the
What do you got there?
the Christmas present pile covered in a
Oh,
towel
yeah.
and what
Yeah.
have you.
That's funny. I got mine over here on this side of it.
It is how my children who live in this house and are 10 and 6 have not simply just done that. I don't know. But
Yeah, because I mean, you probably should put a brighter blanket on it. Maybe the blanket's not yellow enough for them to see it.
And the big Learning Express bag won't indicate like there's things in here you might be interested in.
Well, to be fair though, I was going to say they're naive, but maybe you're naive. Maybe they already did. Because when you're a kid, you're sneaky. Like we knew our presents when we were kids before.
Will this surprise you at all? I wanted the joy of being just so overjoyed on Christmas and surprised.
Yeah, you didn't want to spoil it.
My sister, 6-year-old.
That makes sense because when I spoiled your storytelling around the open, you got all upset because I ruined it for you.
Right.
So that's
there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, right. There's something there for sure.
Interesting.
There's something there.
So anyway, Zach Fisher, big fans of him on this show. We often talk about we're going to be for funsies, a Zach Fisher tracker show. Maybe we'll do that. But
that would be fun.
He played in the Latin tour event in Argentina. That's how they say it.
Yeah.
I think. And won.
He did.
With that came
the Open.
He gets the trip to the Open. He's in. And
that's sick, man. That is so awesome. Like if you think about that, that's just crazy.
There's so many pieces to that story to me. Like it's cool. Just take Zach Fisher, the guy, and his story. That's super cool. Then add in the sub 70 story. And obviously we're big sub 70 fans and supporters.
It's true.
Sneak peek. We'll be seeing them next week. They're the best, but they get plenty like anybody does in golf because golf internet and golf people are golf people.
We covered that last week.
Yeah. They get a lot of criticism. Direct to consumer this and China that, whatever.
Yeah.
So their story pretty ground up, grassroots, blah, 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 blah. They're going to the Open.
I was going to say, right. Their clubs are going to the Open with a pro to play in it.
It's just such a fun piece to the sub 70 cult story. I'm so excited. I was going to say
just the story itself. Yeah. The story continues to be written. It's really fun.
And I'd say there's another piece to it. But I don't know how public it is. And it's not our thing to tell if it's not, but how convenient it is for Jason Hyland already. For next year.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm not that he'd miss that at sub 70s debut in the Open.
He's going to go anyways. Yeah.
I'd be lying to you if I didn't think to myself, let me see any way I can justify that trip. And then I go, oh, wait a minute. Let's look at the price of airfare right now. Never mind.
Yeah.
Be staying home in good old Glen Ellen, Illinois.
The TV will work and you can be able to watch it there.
Just fine.
And you'll be able to actually text with Jason about it.
Right.
To be fun.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, there's that piece of golf. Do we want to talk about this? We briefly exchanged on Twitter, and I'm still beside myself when I go look at it.
Well, it's Charlie Woods week, everybody. Happy Charlie Woods week. I mean, you should have just led with that. Happy Charlie Woods week.
Why did we even talk World Cup?
That was just silly.
Frankly,
silly. We finally get to watch Charlie play golf again, which, God damn it, I love it.
Well, let's be honest. We will enjoy it.
Of course,
it sucks.
I'm being genuine. I like it.
It is one of those things where, again, it's an enjoyable, neat, and interesting thing. It just you just get beat over the head so bad about it.
That's what I was going to say.
Did you hear him say to copy Rory's swing, not his?
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say. Well, I got a whole thing. I don't. Maybe when we really have nothing to talk about.
I kind of
Twitter is just
I want the whole thing.
I think just Twitter has just run its course with me, or at least golf Twitter has kind of run its course with me. It's not interesting. None of it's interesting.
No, it's not.
I know. It took me longer to get there than it took you, but it's just grown stale for me, and it's probably my own fault because I cleaned out my follow whatever box, and it's just I got to find new follows. There's 4 people on there French is one of them naturally.
Yeah.
I just like reading his poorly written tweets, his misspellings and his weird grammar.
Yep.
But yeah, there's not a lot there that's really that interesting to me. But anyways, it's like any other major or anything else. Like it's better experienced without all of the clicky sort of look at me, I'm going to say something funny kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's on Twitter because it ruins it. Just ruins it.
Right. And
although we did have fun making fun of, although I think someone might have thought I was serious, but talking about Paul Azinger and Charlie Wood swinging at around roughly 120 miles per hour, which is only 30 miles per hour behind the pros.
Yeah.
So that's new. That's new.
So I mean, so benefit of the doubt. Oh, he's thinking he's getting ball speed and stuff. Makes him like 100. And if he's,
I assume that's what he meant was ball speed.
30, 40 miles an hour slower. That's a slow ball speed for the pros.
That's true. They're about 180.
He's missing horribly on either. Like, we really want to golf nerd this golf like swing. That means these guys are swinging 147, 157 miles an hour. They're not. Right. That's long drive material there.
Right.
And then he's thinking his swing speed versus average ball speed. Well, their average ball speed is easily over 160 miles an hour. I would beg to argue it's 170 miles an hour plus.
Yeah, I was thinking it's higher than that. But yeah, maybe it's just, Azinger's, he's crafty. He's super smart. He knows what he's doing all the time. He never says anything wrong. So he's probably just messing with us. He's probably just gaslighting everybody like, yeah, figure this one out, because he's just so good at what he does, Bill.
It was so avoidable to just get put. And like what killed me was,
that's the other thing too. Like we don't have to do this with Charlie. No. We don't need to talk about that stuff. Like why the media decides to do that kind of stuff and just fawn over. Like we can all see it. We all know it. It's really fun. Let's just have fun with it. Like you don't have to.
I'm not going to blame Golf Digest for doing it in their line of work. It's fine. But what kills me is Golf Digest is going, this line here, this Zinger quote really makes this point valid. And I'm like,
right.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Did you see the Golf Digest thing where they were like, do the LPGA players hook up with their caddies? Did you see that?
Yeah.
God, and they got raked for it, and it was amazing. They also did like, here are the best ways to cheat at golf. Like, what? Guys.
So did they ever acknowledge the tweet? Because I went back and looked, and
they pulled it. They pulled it. They pulled the tweet.
They didn't pull the article.
Story.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what kills me. I guess I'm not surprised in this culture. It blows my mind though that Golf Digest was like, yeah, that's probably a little dicey on our part, in some way, shape, or form.
Like it's just lowest common denominator stuff. Like I don't know. Maybe it's our fault for expecting more out of Golf Digest.
I did not click it, for the record, and I don't mean that out of like I'm virtue signaling here. I'm like, I just don't care. This isn't going to be an amusing read at all.
But that's part of it too. Like I don't click on anything that Golf Digest posts ever.
I generally do read the undercover caddy stuff just because, like, yeah, I find them fairly interesting. But that one, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's just doesn't do it for me.
No.
I like reading local news stories about golf, like the one last week, I think, where like there was a fight in a golf course and somebody bit off another man's ear.
I saw that, didn't it? Was it his ear
kind of stuff?
Was it his ear or his nose?
Nose.
Because I remember seeing the headline. All I could think of was, at least I didn't get my nose bit off by a Saigon whore. Dirty work.
Yes.
Chris Farley. Just saying.
God, that's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
And I love it. He's like, I'm just kidding. Buy him a beer. He's like, okay. And then, I don't want to spoil the movie for anyone.
Right, yeah. Spoilers. I've already spoiled one thing for everybody.
At the end, when they get all the Saigon whores to be dead whores in the trunks of the cars. God, what a lowbrow, shitty, awesome movie.
Man. It's true.
A lot of RIPs in that one. Jeez.
Yeah.
I guess this is about where we're at in golf season, though. This is what
it
we
is.
have to talk about.
It is like it's the silliest of silly seasons. Although, did you see Mark's guy? He's on the schedule for January. Mr. Zalatoris is going to be back.
I'm not even saying this in a funny way. It's like I forgot he golfed.
Been nursing that back for the past who knows how long.
That's
8 months,
right.
10 months.
Yeah, as a back injury. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So very excited about that. So we've got that to look forward to.
We got some money to make, Mark. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
All right, keep your eyes peeled for the betting quarter coming back with Mark Willie Z entering back into our lives.
Right.
All right. You want TV? What was the TV talk you had?
Have you watched any of Andor?
No, I went to start it the other day, and Disney Plus was not working. This led to a disagreement in the Bush household. And then by the time got that all situated, I had other people wanting to watch TV too, and so we started Wednesday on Netflix.
Oh, what was the disagreement? Like who's going to pay for it?
Let's just say accounts that got used when we set it up because why the password wasn't working. In short, it collided with having, God bless Disney, having to set up passwords for when we went on our Disney trip. Okay. Apparently they do this somewhere, and Disney Plus like it. So then it was a whole to do, and I don't let people finish.
Well, I was using my mother-in-law's Disney Plus account, and she canceled it without any warning. So I was like 6 episodes into Andor, and then one day I go to access it, and it's like, you have unsubscribed, or it looks like you're not subscribing. We're like, wait. And I just like, are we getting divorced? Like, what's going on here? Why? What is happening?
Like when you can't get into your email at work, you're like, wait, is something happening? Like,
did I just get fired?
No.
Yeah.
We just reset passwords and forgot to tell everybody.
Right. So anyways, I subscribed to Disney. And I hope you get to it, because I think it's giving Mandalorian a run for its money. And it's not even like Mandalorian's got the cute little back and forth with Mandalorian and Yoda, or Baby Yoda. Like, this is just well-written, super fun, cool, tense at times.
A little makeup
Star Wars stuff.
A little makeup for Obi-Wan and Book of Boba.
Possibly, yeah. Well, I enjoyed Book of Boba.
I enjoyed Book of Boba until the last. I think not to go back on these shows that we already covered it, but like till the last 3 episodes where I keep saying that the big fight where Boba and Mando are tag team fighting through the streets, and they look like the old guys digitized to be young in that Robert De Niro gangster movie. Was it The Irishman?
Yeah, with De Niro.
Yeah,
he was digitized and
like he was a young guy beating people. No, he looks old beating someone up. Like he can't move. That's how that looked. Yeah. I'm all my usual Star Wars nerds on social media. They're like, Obi-Wan's good. Okay, whatever. It's fine. And they're critical of stuff. Yeah. Have all been like head over heels for it. So I'm pretty excited. It's really fun.
And I don't know. They just here's the other thing too. Maybe you know this, but you can ask your Star Wars nerds friends. So Andor, for those that don't know, is at the very, 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 very beginning of the rebellion.
Right.
Right. Like there is no rebellion yet during the Andor timeline. So it looks like we're going to start to be able to see kind of the birth, when Andor is all said and done, of the full blown rebellion and, Skywalker and all that stuff, right? And Leia.
But I hear it answers some, not questions, but maybe some holes in Rogue One.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So maybe that's sense. Now you have to go watch Rogue One and be like, all right.
Yeah, so I'll have to go. I liked Rogue One.
Me too.
I'll definitely watch that again.
I remember Rogue One getting a lot of criticism.
Not from this guy.
Oh,
Not from me.
I really enjoyed it.
That was really good.
I thought Solo was really good too, and people were like, I don't know, it's a little gratuitous, blah blah blah. No, it was
really.
awesome. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I like Solo too. Anyways, so we're gonna see this sort of origin story, right? Which is really cool and fun, and the way they're doing it it's just really, really good. I'm really enjoying it. What I want to see next, maybe this has already happened. Maybe this is like the first 3 prequels, so to speak. But like, when did and how did the Empire become the Empire? Like, I feel like even in those prequels, we already had Palpatine was already in charge.
Watch this. Go down in the comments below and explain it to us, Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Do you know the answer?
Not enough to speak to it because I don't want to get killed.
Yeah, right. I'm naive and asking the question. Maybe I've seen the 3 prequels one time. I will go back and watch them again at some point. But that even still, I know it from the Empire had already been established.
I think I know it from Clone Wars.
Yeah, see, and I tried watching Clone Wars. I couldn't do it.
It's tough.
Yeah,
but. And like, put it this way, having the little kids sort of help me like give it purpose to watch it. And even like you still haven't made it through as we've been talking
but you can
about
still,
this.
You can watch it and enjoy it because you're watching it with your kids. And it's like, I don't know, like me sitting by myself.
It's supposed to be a little silly. Yeah.
Yeah. Me at 10 o'clock at night watching Clone Wars by myself with a bourbon is like, no.
What am I doing in my life?
I'm not.
Well,
like,
so
read
much
a book, McEwen. God,
so much of Clone Wars. No, again, my Star Wars nerd sounds like so much of Clone Wars like is a very important canon for all this, the Disney Plus series, all the movies, and it's like you kind of need to know them, or you need to know a friend who knows them well to be like, hey, what do you know from Clone Wars that answers this for me, and they'll tell you.
Right.
As we've been talking about this, I'm looking like off camera here. The amount of just random Star Wars shit I have around my desk, like it's a Darth Vader Pez dispenser, obviously.
Makes sense.
There's a couple of Darth Mauls, Mandalorian Legos. I'm more a Star Wars nerd than I realized.
I was going to say, yeah, don't try to.
And I'm not even that big, like relatively speaking, I'm not really that big of one. I
love
your question.
I love all things Star Wars, but I don't dive in quite as aggressively into all of it. But yeah, I would like, so when Andor gets going, maybe they're coming up, but I would like I know we got the Darth Vader origin story. I want the full blown, how did this happen? Empire origin story. Like,
I feel like I heard that's coming. And because
Andor, they talk about it a little bit, like, and it's like the boiling frog, right?
Yeah.
Like they just kind of slowly take away rights and slowly start to do some things that are messed up. And then before you know it, you're like, oh shit. Like we're on Darth Vader's ruling. What happened? Right. But yeah, like I want to know that side of the origin story, and it'll be a huge downer because you're going to know what's going to happen. Like, oh man, these guys are going to take over and ruin everything.
But I would argue, like we know that with Rogue One, and I would say the last scene of the last 2 parts of Rogue One, happen.
Right.
And yet you're like,
right. Oh, but even and I mean, they made Empire, and at the time, I didn't know what Jedi was, right? Return of the Jedi was. So we watched Return of the Empire, as children, and we're like, what? How do we end a movie on like that?
You meant Empire Strikes Back.
Right. Empire Strikes Back. What'd I say?
Return of the Emperor.
No, I meant like what we saw. I was
with you. I just didn't want you to get killed by Star Wars people.
I don't care
That's
about
all
that.
I'm shooting for.
That's right. I
do.
But when we watched Empire Strikes Back in whatever year that was, 84 or something, or 81, and I was 8, 7, whatever it was, we're like, oh my God, that's brutal. That's the saddest thing I've ever seen, without knowing that Return of the Jedi was still coming.
What was it? It was like 7. Was it 77?
77 was Star Wars. Yeah. Was Last Hope. Fun fact, that movie, Star Wars, The Last Hope, is that what it's called? Is that the technical name of it?
New Hope.
New Hope, whatever. It's fucking Star Wars. Okay, everybody, call it Star Wars. Do you know that it was up against? Well, I should ask. Do you know who they lost Best Picture, the Oscar to Best Picture that year to?
I know they had all the back and forth with Spielberg. It wasn't Jaws, was it? Jaws was one of them because they every now
Jaws
and
was
then
80s. Jaws was 1981 or 82, I thought.
Because they always post every now and then the letters that Spielberg and Lucas sent back and forth congratulating each other.
Yeah, right.
Oh, but that was for box offices, I think.
Yeah, that was money, right? No,
okay.
they I believe Rocky beat Star Wars for Best Picture that year.
Ugh.
Crazy, right? But not only that,
I don't know why I said Rocky's fine.
Two great movies, two absolutely fantastic movies, but just so different, so very different, but up against each other for Best Picture. I always found that to be a fun story.
Definitely expected that Range Life show sometimes about golf to be a Star Wars show today. Love Star Wars.
I just wait until you start watching Andor because I can't. I'm so excited for you to watch it.
I think
there's one, and maybe again, I don't know the canon very well, but there's one moment that to me is a bit of, I don't know if you want to call it a plot hole or like, wait a minute, there's a way that I want you to watch it and I want you to come back to me and we can talk. We can talk about it again.
Okay.
But it's good to have some TV talk back, ladies and gentlemen, especially in the downtime of this.
I think in one of our in-person shows, we should play with the droids we built at Disney World.
Okay.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Why not? Half the show just us remote controlling.
Can we put the droids, can we put up a little model garage and maybe like one of the droids and we'll just voice them and have the camera right in front of them and we can actually be the droids doing the show?
I like that. That would be funny.
Right.
Watching a half hour to an hour of this shit. Yeah, you are.
You guys have watched worse out there. I'm sure.
You absolutely have, especially if you follow golf content.
Right.
One last parting thought, and I almost texted you when I heard this the other day, but I saved it for the show. Listening to Sirius XM radio. I know I'm a big deal. I have Sirius radio.
Yeah, you really are, man. What's it like? What's it like being part of the 1%?
I say 1%, how the other half lives.
Christ.
You know how it goes.
Man.
Life of luxury over here.
If you guys saw Bill's house too, you'd be like, Jesus, this guy.
Yeah, save some property for the rest of the time.
Jeez. He owns half of Glen Ellen.
I will tell you, I love Sirius XM so much.
I actually probably do you ever Pearl Jam has their own radio station on there.
Yeah, I heard that
it's
the
fantastic.
Other day, and I haven't dropped it on a preset yet, and I don't really know why.
They play like full shows, so you need like a good 3.5 hours to listen to
which I think is why I don't, because I'm in there for a couple whatevers, and I got most of the time it's Liam with our Goodwill CDs.
Right. Right.
Which, I've had some gems going in that rotation. But anyway, listening to this channel, taking my daughter to her dance the other night, Adam Duritz, and they said was on.
Yeah.
And they said, he was like, everyone always wonders what the story is about Mr. Jones, and everyone thinks it's this sort of like glamorous thing. He goes, it's pretty simple. It's about trying to get girls.
Right.
Me and my friend
want to be famous and to get girls.
But he goes, Mr. Jones isn't anyone significant. It's my friend Martin Jones, and we were at a bar.
It's awesome.
We're like, man, some small bar. If we could be we were rock stars, we'd be able to get these girls.
Yeah.
And they just were talking about it. And Chris Isaac's drummer is sitting over in the bar, just surrounded by a handful of girls. Chris Isaac's drummer, Wicked Games, that guy.
His drummer of all members of the band,
surrounded by these girls, and he's like, most beautiful girls you've ever seen. And it's just so easy. And they're like, God, if we were rockers, that would be us. He goes, I went home that night and I wrote Mr. Jones. And then they played Mr. Jones, and I'm sitting there listening to it going, these lyrics are way more hilarious when you hear the context of two dorks sitting at a bar. And Mr. Jones, like, I'm just gonna call my friend Martin Mr. Jones in this. Like,
right.
But
God, have you ever tried to play that song, like cover it or anything?
I did in high school. Our band played it. Yeah.
God, it's forever long. Like as I used to play just by myself on the acoustic, it's like 6 verses. It's forever.
Well, then you get where
it's American Pie. It's like modern day American Pie. Like that song sucks to sing.
When you get to the, wanting to be lions part, you're like, clearly he wrote this after being at a bar all night. It was just like, hang on, now I'm going to do this whole other thing that has nothing to do with this. Like he's on another planet.
Right. Yeah.
It's just him and Martin.
Have you listened to him? Have you listened to him talk about the making of that record?
No.
It's a good story. I should find the there was a clip I watched of him. It was on the anniversary of August and everything after, and how much everybody hated him. Like it was one of those things where he was pushing the band, and they wanted this different sound. They wanted to do it this way, and he's just one of those psycho lead singers, right? He's like Billy Corgan types, and like
I've heard he's a like notoriously douchey. Like he's a douchebag. I've heard this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone comes and tells me otherwise.
He comes across as he's a very entertaining performer. I've seen them.
Yeah.
They sound great live. He does wonderful. Well, back in the day, now he's clearly lost his fastball, but I mean, back in the day they were good and they were fun. But yeah, maybe behind the scenes, I always wonder about that too, because, these guys that do this stuff this way, Corgans, Vetter, even, Duritz, these guys, they're just psychos, but they're so driven to do this stuff. Like it's like Jordan, right? Like Jordan's a sociopath. I would
argue they have it's like I feel like we've talked about it numerous times on our shows, that Billy Corgan, Howard Stern interview where he's like, we're nut jobs. We can't do anything else. And it was like, I'm either going to die because I'm a hot mess or succeed doing this. So I didn't really have a choice.
Right. And these are the people, like, they were never cool. These are people who were never cool.
And to his point, the reason you can't do what I can do is because you have your act together to some degree. Like you're smart. You can articulate yourself. Like you have your shit together. I don't and didn't.
Yeah.
That's why I have this talent.
Right.
And I believe it's hard because Billy Corgan's been on Howard Stern like 7,000 times, but I've searched for that specific interview. And interestingly, I heard that interview driving from the city. I drove into work this day because I had to go to Club Champion straight from work to pick up some clubs.
Nice. Back in the day when you had to come to the city.
The old Club Champion too, not the when the whole fitting studio and build shop were under one roof, not what it is now. Geez.
Yeah. We got a lot of really fun feedback from from our Club Champion friends about a couple of the clips that dropped. And I told them there's still one more clip from that show last week about us talking about internet golf. So
that's what happens with Captain Club Champions on our show.
So funny. It was so funny. Getting texts from Jake, like he clearly had seen the clip, and he immediately texted me something that was just really fun. Like we're all in the same boat. Anyways,
welcome to that range life, Jake.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you need to Captain Club Champion? Anything you need to plug over there?
I unboxed a new putter, a new Cleveland Golf Huntington Beach soft putter. So you can go watch that video, and you can go watch the Club Champion stuff again.
This isn't a Huntington Beach putter, but it has an all-in US Team Amir all-in putter shaft in it.
Right.
I believe those Huntington Beaches all come with, stock?
Not come with stock, no. It's an add-on.
An add-on.
An extra $50, I think, for the all-in shaft.
That seems like a pretty reasonable upgrade price.
Yeah.
I don't know. I too, again, not an HB, but got this guy and I'm curious about it. That's not the point of your unboxing, but just.
And I also have an idea about that too that I will let you in on after the show.
Let me in. All right. All right, cool. I don't know. Just go to driverangeheroes.com. There's I think a Mitsubishi Chemical Diamana GT review and something else.
Big time shaft guy, Bill Bush, ladies and gentlemen. Big time shaft guy. It's John. That was John. That's right. That's right.
We got someone who swings a little more human. Sure. He swings. It's too fast. It was 105. All right, that's
Oh,
Chris
God.
McEwen. I like his Nike golf hoodie. Check it out.
I don't know if you know this, but I play golf, ladies and gentlemen.
You know?
It says it right there on my sweatshirt. This is the Black Friday purchase. It was like $20. How could I turn it down?
Can't beat it.
Yeah.
This is a Black Friday purchase, this hoodie, but it was not discounted. It just was released and I bought it. Bill Bush, JRangeHeroes.com, at Range Heroes on the same social media platforms. This has been the At Range Life, a show sometimes about Star Wars. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.